Well, moving on to another area altogether, why did you choose Hawaii as your place of residence?
I guess when I was a kid, my parents used to take me here, and I was familiar with the island. But the major reason is my child's education. Where do I want to raise her? And Hawaii is by far the best, I think. I traveled all over the place, but Hawaii is by far the best place to raise a kid, I think. So,
it's really a wholesome place.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you feel about raising your child here? If you can expand upon that just a little bit.
Hawaii, it's got the good mixture of racial mixture. Demographically, Asian populations is so big enough to feel at home, but it's got the convenience of America. Well, I don't know the convenience.
No,
but you know what I mean?
I think you hit on a good point.
Right? And then we get the both mixture of East meets West. So I want my daughter to have some Japanese exposure, culturally and linguistically. So, it's a great place. And, we are surrounded by all the nature, and especially in the younger age, you get to go on the beach or walk on the grass. And
it's different from Tokyo, yeah.
Very different from Tokyo, yeah.
All right. Now that you've lived here, have you discovered any new attractions? So, of course, everybody comes here and does some of the same things in the beginning. But after having been here for a while, what's something a little off the beaten track maybe that you could share?
Camping, for one. Yeah. That's something I wasn't able to do, as a tourist, because you always stay in the hotel and you don't have the gear.
But that's interesting because you must have, I'm assuming then you started your first experiences here as an adult. It's not something you grew up doing in Japan then, right?
Yeah, correct, yeah, exactly.
It's kind of interesting to start.
Yeah.
You're the head of the family. You've got to go and pitch the tent or whatever you're doing.
Yeah. But it's actually easy. It's not that hard. Yeah, and then campsites are everywhere, and you can get your gear pretty reasonably, and so.
Okay, good. So you recommend that, yeah?
I do, yeah.
Have you had any memorable experiences while living here with your family in Hawaii? Just something, a family-oriented thing in particular that stands out?
Well, personally, like my daughter learns hula, and I don't want to be we call it oyabaka, stupid parent in Japanese, but I think she's good.
Yeah. That's okay. Go ahead.
She had this for the Christmas. Then she had a show with her class, and actually older kids too, and it's just like for her to incorporate the local culture and do it like 100% believe in the philosophy and then all that. It's just like it was really moving. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what do you think about Hawaii as an option for people who want to learn English?
Well, I think it's a great option. It's almost a privilege, and to be able to live here, to come here and stay here for a long time, and learn English, and still, Hawaii is a pretty safe place. And safety. If I was a parent, safety is a big issue if I was to send kids away. And, America, mainland America, it's not the same place that I went to like 30, 40 years ago. So, but I would feel really safe sending kids here. Yeah. And, you know, not everybody's aloha, but most of them are. And so.
And you get to speak English to a lot of people who are also not native speakers of English,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is most important to achieve your dreams?
Never give up.
Never give up. Okay. All right. As a globally recognized actor, what is the next challenge you want to take on?
What's the next challenge? Well, as I said, every job is, I tackle work at a time, and I treat it as my last job.
Okay.
That's what I actually feel like, especially in America. Like, oh, maybe I will never work again after this, because there's no promise. I mean,
Right. You got to stay on your toes.
Yeah, and it's a hard profession, so I treat it as my last work every time. But it's a good kick in my butt.
No, it sounds like a good philosophy for anyone, actually. Yeah. What does English, the language itself, what does it mean for you?
It opened a lot of doors for me, obviously. But even before coming to the U.S., coming to live in Hawaii, when I was working in Japan, although I never used directly, as I said, used English in my work, but I was always listening to news or like watching YouTube or podcasts, listen to podcasts or something but expose myself to the world and be aware of what's going on around the world. And that was just so important. Nowadays a lot of things can be translated, but if you speak the language, your horizon, your world opens up tremendously. And I'm so glad I went.
Well, so. I'm lucky that I'm a native speaker of English, obviously. Every time I travel around the world, I'm humbled by meeting people who speak English and it's not their first language. Yeah. So it's a lucky thing to have something that's, international coinage.
Right.
Okay, well, the last question. What message would you like to share with future successful English learners who aspire to succeed internationally?
Never give up.
Okay, all right. No, that sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you so much for having me.